Thanks for starting your day with us. Straight to our top story, the stage set on Capitol Hill, where in just hours, Attorney General Jeff Sessions will take the hot seat.
He certainly will. The high-stakes hearing and the next round in the Russia probe taking place in full view of the cameras.
Griff Jenkins live in D.C. this morning, where Sessions is preparing to tell his side of the story. Griff.
Good morning, Rob and Heather. Another busy day in Washington. Under oath and in full view of the public, Attorney General Jeff Sessions will face tough questions from senators on that Intelligence Committee this afternoon. Sure to come up, says contacts with the Russian officials, as well as accusations from James Comey's testimony. But the White House says that they welcome today's testimony of Sessions so they can move on.
I think the president's been clear last week in the Rose Garden that he believes that the sooner we can get this addressed and dealt with, that there's been no collusion. He wants this to get investigated as soon as possible and be done with it so he can continue with the business of the American people.
This comes as new revelations that the president may be considering firing independent counsel Bob Mueller. Newsmax CEO and longtime friend of the president, Chris Ruddy, had this to say on PBS last night.
I think he's considering perhaps terminating the special counsel. I think he's weighing that option.
And he's not the first to sour on Mueller. Newt Gingrich blasted him yesterday as unfair for the people that he's hiring on his team. Such a move also drawing swift reaction from Democrats. The ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, tweeting, if President fired Bob Mueller, Congress would immediately reestablish independent counsel and appoint Bob Mueller. Don't waste our time. Mr. Ruddy was indeed at the White House yesterday meeting with aides. However, the White House is pushing back on Ruddy's comments, saying he never met with the president. Sean Spicer releasing this statement, quote, Mr. Ruddy never spoke to the president regarding this issue. With respect to this subject, only the president or his attorneys are authorized to comment. So, get ready, guys. Jeff Sessions appears at 2:30 today, and it's unclear whether or not he'll also testify in a closed-door classified briefing, as Comey did last time.
Yeah, after a couple hours of public. Okay, yeah. Griff, thanks so much.
Thank you, Griff. Well, our very own Tucker Carlson, host of Tucker Carlson Tonight, challenging the collusion conspiracy theories head on.
Sessions may strike you as an unlikely Putin conspirator, having spent virtually all of his 70 years living in or representing Alabama. That's an awfully long way from Moscow in every sense. Doesn't matter. Everyone affiliated with the administration is a potential suspect these days. Sessions says that as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, he talked on 2 separate occasions with the Russian ambassador to the United States. According to top Democrats, Sessions must resign immediately. Almost all the claims you hear about Russia are general rather than specific. Russia hacked our election. We hear that line almost every day. How exactly did Russia hack our election? Well, comes the answer, they just did. All 17 intelligence agencies say they did. Okay, but can you be more specific? It's a pretty serious charge, and it might be nice to have some details. They can't provide those details, or they won't. Character assassination is always easier than making a sensible argument. Which brings us back to Jeff Sessions. Sessions was forced to recuse himself from a major Justice Department investigation into Russia and then fend off insinuations that he somehow committed treason because of those meetings. This kind of thing is happening all over Washington right now. Guilt by association, attack by innuendo, classic witch hunt stuff. You ought to be worried about it, too, because if Jeff Sessions can be denounced as a Russian spy, anyone can be.
Well, a Fox News alert and a disturbing threat amid the recent wave of global terror. It is not over, and America is next. That's the threat. A new ISIS audio message spreading online telling supporters to carry out attacks during Ramadan, not just in Europe, but in the United States as well. The group praising attacks in the first weeks of Ramadan, including London, Manchester, and in Iran. Attacks that killed dozens and wounded hundreds of people. The holy month ends on June 24th. The bodies of 3 fallen Army Rangers are back on American soil. Vice President Mike Pence on hand for the dignified transfer at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware. The Pentagon now identifying those soldiers killed in combat. Corporal Dylan Baldridge, Sergeant Eric Hauk, and Sergeant William Hayes. All 3 served with the 101st Airborne Division. They were killed in an insider attack by an Afghan soldier they were there to support, and Al-Qaeda has claimed responsibility.
Just 25, 22, and 29 years old. Well, a massive manhunt, meantime, intensifying this morning after a police officer is shot and killed in the line of duty. Police say that Lieutenant Patrick Weatherford was responding to a call near Little Rock, Arkansas last night when he was ambushed. Police say that they are following a lead. Lieutenant Weatherford was a 15-year department veteran. He was just 41 years old. And another desperate hunt, this one for 4 inmates who escaped, including an accused killer, also intensifying at this hour. The men sneaking out through the ventilation system inside a jail in Oklahoma. And it is deja vu for authorities, 2 of them breaking out the same way earlier this year. Police say that the inmates, who are considered armed and dangerous, are still in this stolen red Dodge truck. So take a look.
President Trump heading to Wisconsin today to meet with victims of sorts of Obamacare.
This as more insurers pull the plug on the program. Kelly Wright joins us now with the steps that the Trump administration is taking today. Good morning, Kelly.
Some tough steps to take as well. Good morning to you. More insurers, as you stated, are pulling out of Obamacare, and because of that, health care insurance premiums continue to rise in price. President Trump will travel to Wisconsin today to meet with people losing their insurance under the Affordable Care Act. And later today, Vice President Mike Pence will join him to get an update on the Senate's new plan to replace and repeal Obamacare. GOP sources say they'd like to get the measure passed by July 4th, but a Republican leader says Democrats are not helping to fix the mess they created.
Obamacare never actually lived up to what Democrats had promised. From rising costs to shrinking choices and collapsing markets, the problems associated with Obamacare grew across the country as the years passed, leaving the American people literally to pick up the pieces.
Senate Democrat leader Chuck Schumer firing back, accusing Republicans of lacking what he calls transparency.
This is a party that chanted, "Read the bill, read the bill," when Obamacare was being debated, and now they won't even show the bill.
And during a meeting with his cabinet at the White House, President Trump blasted Democrats for not helping to develop a plan to improve health care.
They're obstructionists, and that's sad. But we are coming up with something that I believe will be very good, with zero support from the obstructionist Democrats. Sad.
So here's where we stand. Both sides of the aisle are blaming each other, which happens in Washington, and time is running short to reach a consensus by July 4th. And millions of Americans are facing the possibility of losing health care coverage or paying skyrocketing premiums. Heather.
All right.
All getting caught up in politics with all this. All right.
Time is of the
Thanks so much, Kelly.
essence, though. Thank you. Well, President Trump's border order battle, that's still going on, and it is now gearing up for a Supreme Court showdown after another legal setback, a federal appeals court ruling again that it violates the Constitution by targeting Muslims. But the White House is optimistic that the nation's top court will reinstate it.
We're currently reviewing that opinion. I think we can all attest that these are very dangerous times, and we need every available tool at our disposal to prevent terrorists from entering the United States and committing acts of bloodshed and violence. We continue to be confident that the President's executive order to protect this country is fully lawful. Any lawyer worth their salt 100% agrees that the President is fully within his rights and his responsibilities to do what is necessary to protect the country.
Well, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton has very strong words, though, for those against the immigration order, telling the Daily Caller that if anyone in his state is harmed, quote, the blood is on their hands.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement making over 100 criminal arrests in just 1 week. It was all part of a massive sweep in New Jersey. The Newark field office locking up 113 suspects accused of committing crimes ranging from narcotics possession to homicide charges. Officials say 93% of those arrested are convicted criminals already, and 87% have felony convictions.
Well, let's take a look at some extreme weather now. Twisters violently rattling multiple states. This violent force caught on camera. Look, this was inside Cheyenne, Wyoming. Can you imagine seeing that?
Wow, that's a nice looking twister there. It's just one of at least 23 reported tornadoes in that state. Colorado and Nebraska Monday afternoon as well. Janice Dean live in the studio tracking those storms. Some good video there.
Lots of people close to that one.
Right.
Incredible video. And yesterday we had a particularly dangerous tornado watch in those areas to make sure people were aware of the situation. Close to 36 reports of tornadoes yesterday in all of those states that you mentioned: Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska. Hundreds of reports of severe storms, including hail and damaging winds. That system actually producing snow in the higher elevations, going to move across the northern plains and the upper Midwest today. So large hail, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes possible. And then the other big story we are watching is the extreme heat. You can see how cold it is out west. Part of the ingredients that we need for that tornadic activity, the clash of the two air masses. Well, we've got very warm temperatures, record-setting warmth again today for 2/3 of the country. A lot of 90s here, heat indexes well into the 90s, up towards 100 degrees, and that's going to be really dangerous. So people need to take precautions. Certainly, we're going to flirt with records again today. Dozens of records set yesterday, and then as we head into Wednesday and Thursday, the heat is going to break. So that's the good news. If you can stay indoors, air conditioning, check on the elderly and your kids, and bring your pets inside as well. Heather, Rob, back to you.
Yeah, we're going to get enough of this heat in July and August.
Yeah, that's right. It's here, though, I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank
Janice,
you.
thanks so much.
Of course.
All right, going to talk some sports here. The Golden State Warriors refusing to repeat history.
Yeah, bringing the heat. Kevin Durant helping the team avenge last year's loss with sweet victory in the NBA Finals.
There it is, redemption for Golden State. One of the great playoff runs of all time is complete.
Durant lifting the Warriors to a 129-120 victory over LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers in Game 5. It is the Warriors' second title in 3 years, the very first team for the team's newest member, who is Kevin Durant. So good for them.
These teams are getting kind of stacked in the NBA. There's a lot of complaints about that.
I know. So, that's a good one, though. Well, the time now is 11 minutes after the top of the hour, and red flags now being raised over Robert Mueller as Republicans call for his removal from the Russian investigation. Why our next guest, a former prosecutor, says that Mueller should not be fired.
To cover it up kind of hurt a lot, and you can't just cover this up.
Well, it's a talker. American pride denied. Hear from the principal who refused to allow an Army reservist receive his diploma while wearing his military uniform.
And Barron Trump's T-shirt. Did you see this? It is drawing some major attention on Twitter, and we'll talk about it. Welcome back. A fierce debate now waging over special counsel Robert Mueller and whether his friendship with former FBI Director James Comey has compromised his credibility.
I think that the people Mueller's bringing in are dangerous people, and any Republican who thinks this counsel is going to be neutral is crazy.
Mueller's a man of integrity. Speaker Gingrich's attacks and attacks like that won't do a thing to deter Director Mueller from finding out the truth.
So the question is, should Mueller recuse himself from part of the Russia investigation? Is that even possible for part of it? Well, now, attorney and former prosecutor Elliot Felig joins us now with more. Thank you for joining us again this morning.
My pleasure. Good morning.
So we were just discussing the connection between the two. I mean, they're friends outside of the court, and that's indisputable.
Yes.
So will that influence impact the case, and should Mueller recuse himself?
So a little bit of context. Firstly, a prosecutor is powerful, but a prosecutor isn't omnipowerful. A prosecutor can't single-handedly convict someone or can't single-handedly punish someone. That's ultimately left to a trier of fact, like a judge or a jury, or in the case of impeachment, the Congress. So that's a little context there. Also, just speaking from personal experience as a former prosecutor, I did that job for 13 years. So over the course of those 13 years, there were officers, detectives that I worked with over and over again. So inevitably, camaraderie develops, friendships develop. Notwithstanding, I even had a couple of colleagues who married NYPD members. But notwithstanding the inevitability of those friendships, you still count on a prosecutor to be fair, to look at everyone's credibility independently, and also look for corroborating evidence before bringing a charge.
But what about when the credibility of the person himself, being Comey, is called into question by his own testimony, where he admitted that he was in fact the leaker of these memos, and he did it so that he would influence the appointment of a special prosecutor that ended up being, of course, his friend, Mueller.
Right. I mean, what you hope is, because the standard of proof is still incredibly high, the highest standard of proof in the system, proof beyond a reasonable doubt, that a charge could could not arise simply from the eyewitness testimony of one person, James Comey or anyone else, that a prosecutor is still going to have to get some form of independent corroboration, be it physical evidence or separate independent eyewitness
What about
testimony.
a charge on Comey?
Right, a charge against Comey.
Yeah.
I think that would be pretty unlikely, but if it really came to a point where Comey was a target, then I would expect Mr. Mueller, because of the friendship, then to perhaps step back and give that part and give that portion of the investigation to somebody else.
Okay, and do you think that that's possible?
I think it's unlikely. I think the biggest charge, the most powerful charge against Comey so far is only for a violation of administrative stuff, for which one could be fired, but he's already been fired, so that can't happen.
Yeah, it just blows my mind, though, that he, as the director of the FBI, could do that. I mean, I know that he's claiming that he owned the memos, so he had a right to do with them what he wanted, but they were on government material, and I just don't see how that could not be followed up by the special prosecutor.
He would claim that the real power of the memos comes from the information, and that even if he hadn't generated these memos on a work computer during work hours, his testimony still would have had the same impact, because he still could have used this information in response to, for example, the tweets from the president.
What about some of the other misinformation that has come out, where he said that he did not keep memos, say with President Bush, but now we've learned that he did?
Right. To the extent that his credibility is impacted by that, that makes it, of course, less likely that a charge could be sustained against the president if you're relying on Comey's testimony to bring that charge.
But as you said, Mueller will obviously be looking at other information as well.
You would hope so. As a prosecutor, you're supposed to be independent, and you're supposed to look at all forms of corroboration, whether they help or hurt a particular witness.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it. Going to be another big day today with Sessions' testimony.
Absolutely. That could be
which
juicy.
he requested to be open, so we'll see what he has to say.
Maybe a smarter political move than a legal move, but he wants to get it all out in the open.
Okay. We'll see. Thank you so much, Elliot.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
Good morning.
Rob?
All right, guys, 5:19 now. Time Warner under pressure for still sponsoring the Julius Caesar production, which shows the brutal assassination of President Trump, it appears. But according to CNN, who is underneath Time Warner's umbrella, this is a masterpiece. All right, a live look at northbound 6th Avenue, Midtown Manhattan, on what's going to be a very hot day in the city. Welcome back. Growing pressure on sponsors of the Shakespeare in the Park interpretation of Julius Caesar, depicting the assassination of what appears to be President Trump. American Express, reportedly the latest to drop support for this theater company, but the New York Times and CNN's parent company, Time Warner, are still on board. CNN anchor Fareed Zakaria openly tweeting praise, saying, if you're in NYC, go see Julius Caesar free in Central Park. Brilliantly interpreted for Trump era, a masterpiece. The theater company now saying the controversy was expected and the performance in no way advocates violence toward anyone. Heather.
Well, outrage is boiling over after a mayor removed the president's portrait from Town Hall, replacing it with this. It is a picture of a well-known Native American warrior. Jackson, Wyoming Mayor Pete Muldoon defending his decision, saying that he isn't required to display signs of respect and that honoring the President of the United States means that the city is taking sides. Now, the county commissioner is calling the move totally disrespectful.
All right, a Fox Business alert, make America work again. President Trump and his daughter Ivanka heading to Wisconsin today in a major push for jobs.
Tracy Carrasco from our sister network, Fox Business, here now with the agenda. Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning, guys. Now, President Trump and his daughter hitting the road to Wisconsin today to meet with Governor Scott Walker to tour a technical college as the administration puts a renewed focus on job creation. This trip is just one event during Workforce Development Week, as they're calling it, to promote technical skills training and apprenticeships. First daughter and presidential advisor Ivanka is taking a leading role in the administration's initiative.
Okay, very cool. Also, we have Best Buy is going to let you try things out before you buy them. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's right. Now, that's what they're calling it. Try before you buy. Best Buy's new program will allow customers to do just that. Best Buy teaming up with an online rental startup called Lumoid to launch a program that allows customers to rent items like cameras, drones, and other gadgets before actually buying them. For example, you can get an Apple Watch, test it out for $50 a week. The service will be offered on Best Buy's website starting later this month.
Uh-oh, another one. P. Diddy and from Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
The
This
battle.
is surprising. P. Diddy, I mean, or Diddy, whatever they call him now. I can't believe that.
Where's he been? But you know what? He is now the top earner on Forbes' list of 100 highest paid celebrities, bringing in $130 million.
Wow.
Forbes says, yeah, Diddy's Bad Boy Family reunion tour, a stake in Ciroc Vodka, and the $70 million sale of part of his Sean John clothing line, all contributing to the earnings. Now coming in at second, Beyonce with $105 million, followed by author J.K. Rowling, rapper Drake, and soccer player Cristiano Ronaldo. Last year's top earner, Taylor Swift, she dropped to number 49. She only brought in $44 million, down from $170. Now, she hasn't put out an album or toured since 2015, so that's probably why.
She's young. She's got a ton of money. She said, I'm going to take a little break.
She keeps buying all those houses near her boyfriends.
Right,
That's what she keeps doing.
Yeah, go for it. All right, it's Taco Tuesday, huh?
It sure is. Taco Bell is giving away free tacos today. Customers can get one Doritos Locos taco at any of the restaurants from 2 to 6 p.m. This is part of a Steal a Game, Steal a Taco promotion during the NBA Finals. Of course, only available while supplies last. Maybe they should call it Steal a Championship, Steal a Taco.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, did you win Miss America? This kind of looks like a pageant thing here.
I sure did.
Yeah. Congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. It's Miss Fox News.
That's right, Miss Fox News. Tracy, thanks.
Thank you. Well, the time now is 30 minutes after the top of the hour. And Dennis Rodman, have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah.
To the rescue. Again, the former NBA star heading back to North Korea as tensions reach a boiling point. What he hopes to accomplish.
It's getting very weird with Dennis Rodman. Faith under fire here. A football coach fired for praying with his players on the field. The new steps that he just took to prove he's not giving up the fight.
And the intense moment, a firefighter gets caught in this massive explosion and then amazingly lives to tell the story.
Hey, good morning. Welcome back. You're watching Fox and Friends First. I'm Rob Schmidt.
And I'm Heather Childers. It is half past the top of the hour, and we're going to go straight to our top story for you. The stage is set on Capitol Hill, where in just hours, Attorney General Jeff Sessions will take the hot seat.
Yeah, the high-stakes hearing in the next round in the Russia probe taking place in full view of the cameras. And Griff Jenkins is live in D.C., where Sessions is preparing to tell his side of the story here. Hey, Griff.
Hey, Rob and Heather, that's right. The Attorney General will face tough questions this afternoon. Sure to come up, Sessions' contact with Russian Ambassador Sergei Kislyak, as well as accusations we heard from James Comey last week. But the White House says they welcome today's testimony so they can move on.
I think the president's been clear last week in the Rose Garden that he believes that the sooner we can get this addressed and dealt with, that there's been no collusion. He wants this to get investigated as soon as possible and be done with it so he can continue with the business of the American people.
This comes as new revelations that the president may be considering firing independent counsel Bob Mueller. Here's what Newsmax CEO and friend of the president Chris Ruddy had to say to PBS last night.
I think he's considering perhaps terminating the special counsel. I think he's weighing that option.
Mr. Ruddy was at the White House yesterday meeting with aides. However, the White House is pushing back on Ruddy's comments, saying he never met with the president. Sean Spicer releasing this statement. Mr. Ruddy never spoke to the president regarding this issue. With respect to this subject, only the president or his attorneys are authorized to comment. But such a move is drawing strong reaction from Democrats. The ranking member of the House Intelligence Committee, Adam Schiff, says that if the president fired Mueller, Congress would simply reappoint him. And Minority Leader Chuck Schumer coming to Mueller's defense.
Mueller's a man of integrity. That's agreed to by just about everybody. He's devoted his entire career to his country. He came out of private life to do a job on behalf of his country and be right down the middle. Even Attorney General.
So the Sessions grilling begins at 2:30 today, guys. So get your popcorn and milk duds ready. Yet another breaking news day in Washington.
I love these Senate hearings. They're so fun.
Yeah.
Griff, thanks so much.
Thank you, Griff. Well, also in the hot seat today, as if that's not enough, Secretary of State Rex Tillerson. It is the first in a series of 4 hearings this week expected to cover President Trump's budget, foreign affairs, and the alleged links between the Trump administration and Russia. Secretary Tillerson has not testified publicly since his confirmation hearing in January. That hearing dominated by questions of the Secretary's own potential links to Russia when he was CEO of ExxonMobil.
Erratic North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un responding to President Trump's Twitter taunts by threatening to take out New York City. The intimidation tactic referring to a January tweet by our commander-in-chief calling out the communist country's bluff. North Korea silent at the time, but has since flexed its nuclear missiles with several missile launches this year. Also flexing diplomatic muscle in North Korea. This video just in overnight showing the former NBA star Dennis Rodman arriving in Pyongyang to meet with Kim Jong-un. His purpose there still unclear. Rodman only telling reporters he's just trying to open a door. Rodman has visited that country at least 4 times, once bringing former NBA players to play against North Korea as a birthday gift for Kim Jong-un. There you go.
Let's hope he's very, very careful with that door. Meantime, Tiger Woods is heading back to rehab as he faces the possibility of losing joint custody of his 2 young children. Woods reportedly reserving the entire male inpatient unit at the Jupiter Medical Center near his Florida home. Now, the professional golfer was busted, you'll remember, last month with a DUI after taking prescription drugs. Woods' ex-wife, Erin Nordegren, I should say, is allegedly threatening to pull the plug on their children's custody agreement if he does not shape up. And it is Ellen, right?
It's Elin.
Yeah. Elin.
It's a different name. I think Swedish, I think. Yeah. All right, a firefighter lucky to be alive after being engulfed in flames.
Scott! Get him, get him, get him! Come on, Scott, go, 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 go! Get your tag off.
Amazing body camera footage there, capturing the moment that the propane tank exploded. This happened in Maine. The volunteer firefighter getting caught in the flames as you continue to see them shoot out.
That is horrifying. That firefighter treated for 1st and 2nd degree burns to his face, we are sad to say, but thankfully he is still alive.
Yeah. Quick thinking. And speaking of some quick thinking, always on her toes, Janice Dean is standing by in the Weather Center where we have some more potential severe weather to talk about and heat.
Absolutely. Both big stories today. The potential for strong to severe storms across the high plains today, where we have clash of the 2 air masses. Very warm weather ahead of the front and very cold enough for snow across the higher elevations. So that system is moving eastward, bringing a threat for large hail, damaging winds, and tornadoes across the upper Midwest down through portions of Texas. Again, not the threat that we saw yesterday in terms of tornadoes, but we're still going to see the hail and the damaging winds. Certainly, we had 3 dozen reports of tornadoes yesterday. The other big story, as Heather mentioned, is the extreme heat along the East Coast, really as far west as east of the Rockies, and that's going to be ongoing through Wednesday. We have a front that's going to move through that's going to bring those continued temperatures down, especially for D.C. and New York City, Columbus and Chicago. You're going to remain hot, but the Northeast, we're going to get down towards seasonal averages. So a quick shot of heat and then back to regular temperatures as we head towards the end of this week. Back to you, Rob and Heather.
It is hot outside, Janice. Thanks so much.
Back to regular temperatures.
Regular.
Thanks.
All right, 5:37 now here on the East Coast. A top Democrat admitting her concerns after James Comey reveals that former Attorney General Loretta Lynch, underneath Obama, asked him to call the Clinton email investigation a matter.
I would have a queasy feeling, too, though, to be candid with you.
Well, Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert here to weigh in. Coming up.
And a Photoshop fail now coming with some consequences. The punishment that the yearbook advisor is now facing for removing student support for the president.
And looks like a cool kid, doesn't he? Why, Barron Trump's T-shirt. Yeah, it is kind of cool. Drawing major attention, making a lot of money for that company on Twitter. All right.
Of course, I love her outfit.
Yeah. All right, a top Democrat admitting her concerns after James Comey revealed that Obama's Attorney General Loretta Lynch asked him to call the Clinton email investigation not an investigation, but a matter instead.
I would have a queasy feeling too, though, to be candid with you. I think we need to know more about that. And there's only one way to know about it, and that's to have the Judiciary Committee take a look at that.
So will there be an investigation? Let's ask a member of the House Judiciary Committee, Texas Congressman Louis Gohmert. Thank you so much for joining us bright and early this morning.
It's great to be with you.
So does it also give you a queasy feeling? What do you think should happen?
Listen,